I just got in the mail the Archie Halloween Spectacular #1 from 2024. As I've mentioned in previous videos, I have a subscription to the Archie Classic Mega Sub is what it's called. And you get all the latest classic Archie one-shots that they release whenever they come out. And the cool thing is sometimes they come out early. So I'm recording this, let's see, September 25th, it looks like. And this comic actually doesn't come out till next Wednesday, October 2nd. So pretty cool. I was actually surprised to get it when I got it in the mail. Now, one bad thing, when people do ask about subscriptions, it's like, well, what condition do they come in? Because they come in this plastic sheet. On the other side of the sheet is my address, and that's what the comic is inside. But as you can see, there's sort of a dent here, which actually, you can't really see it here, but there's a sort of dent in the issue as well. It runs through the whole issue. But it's not that noticeable. In fact, I didn't notice it until I started reading it. And I was like, what's that little bump there? And there's also a little minor little crease there, a little bent. But other than that, it's fine. And the cool thing was, you know, the cover price is $3.99 if you were to buy this in the stores when it comes out next week. But I bought the subscription when they were on sale, 6 issues for $11.99. So that works out to $2 per issue, which is pretty awesome. I mean, so I'm willing to sacrifice a little bump here and there. Anyways, I don't want to show the whole comic, but I do want to say that I enjoyed the comic a lot. It's fun, and especially if you're someone who likes the old Archie superheroes or sort of the newer takes on the Archie classic superheroes, I think you'll really enjoy this issue. The funny thing about this is when I was reading it, sometimes I'll jump ahead to see what the next story is going to be, you know, or just kind of flip ahead before I've actually started reading the comic, just sort of skim ahead to get an idea of what to expect. This time I didn't. I read the whole comic page by page and just let it sort of surprise me. And so I'm kind of spoiling this for people. I didn't read it the way, you know, you're going to see it here, because as I turned each page and read each story, I was like, well, I wonder what the next story is going to be. Surely they can't have another cool superhero story. And they did. So, anyways, there is one non-superhero story in here, but it's featuring an old classic Archie character called Ginger. But anyway, so we pick up where, oh, it doesn't show on the front here, but in the Sabrina Spectacular, which came out a few weeks ago, I reviewed that also on my channel. So if you look through my previous videos, you'll see, maybe I'll have a link to it in below too. There's a little 5-page serial that's happening through these one-shots. So this is part 2, although you don't need to read part 1 to understand it, where Sabrina is facing off against this villainess who is the mother of all witches, called Mother Stigra, which is her right there. The art is really cool by Stephen and Lily Butler, who also drew the part 1 that was in that Sabrina Spectacular. And so there's a lot of little things here, like you can see a character dressed as Comet. This is a Halloween party. Veronica's dressed as Jaguar. So this is the new story. So I'm not going to turn the pages. There's only 5 pages to this new story. I don't want to ruin the whole thing. But it's really well done, really jam-packed with characters, very detailed art, very fun. So we're going to skip ahead 2 pages. And so, like I said, the part 3 will be in the next Archie Spectacular. I forget which one that is. I think the Josie and the Pussycats Spectacular that's coming up, that one shot. So part 3 will be in there, and that will conclude the storyline. So as you can see, Ginger, House of Horrors. I looked this up to see where this is originally from, because I think this is I think the rest of the comic is reprints. But a lot of times they've been doing new material for the digests, and I think that's where this is reprinted from. But I looked it up in the Grand Comics database, and there wasn't an entry for this, so this wasn't indexed yet. So it was written and drawn by Dan Parent, and it's featuring this Ginger character who is friends with Betty and Veronica, and she's sort of scared of this Melanie horror character that's like a doll. I forget what is it like Annabelle or something like that is a character that is that they're parodying here. That is like a horror character, that a movie character that's a doll. But anyways, so it's just a sort of silly story where she's scared and they're playing a prank on her and stuff like that. Again, I don't want to ruin that whole story. And then this was a surprise. This was drawn by Rex Lindsay, who is best known probably for drawing Jughead when Craig Boldman was writing it back in the day. But he also had done some serious Archie work back in the around 1984 on The Fly and things like that. So, but ever since, then he's been doing the more cartoony stuff. And this was really cool. This is using the Archie characters, Pure Heart, Archie, Super Teen, Captain Hero, Power Teen, and Evil Heart. That's Reggie. And then their modern versions of their classic heroes, the Shield, Jaguar, Darkling, Inferno, who's a character I'm not familiar with, and Fly Girl. And so they're facing off, and the reason they're facing off is because these shapeshifters have appeared as the Crusaders and have attacked Riverdale. So the Archie Super Teens are, fighting them, but then they get they go into with all these Halloween masqueraders, and so they can't tell who's who. Who are the regular innocent people just dressed as superheroes, and who are the actual shapeshifters. But anyway, so then the real Crusaders show up, and it turns out that you can tell the difference between them by the shadows that they cast. So the shapeshifters have, monstrous shadows. So anyways, all's well that ends well. It's another little 5-page story. Again, I think this is reprinted probably from a digest. I haven't looked it up, though. But it's awesome to see it here, right? So I thought, well, what can the next story be? When I got to this part, surely not another cool superhero story, right? And sometimes they'll throw in like a really old story and stuff that will sort of have a totally different tone. Well, this was another new story. It was The Web. Again, new, quote unquote. I think this is a reprint from the digests. And so The Web is one of their superhero characters. And again, he's tracking down some crooks who are dressed as, monsters, and who then go into a party, and he can't tell who's who, So, and then he ends up catching them through his strand sense, which I guess is like his spider sense. Okay, so what's going to be the next story, I thought, after this cool little web story? Well, then you have a She-Fox story by Dan Parent. Again, I'm not familiar with She-Fox at all. Apparently, this is She-Fox right there. And then this is her son, Shinji, who is the, I think they said Ghost Fox. Ghost Fox. So he's the character in white. And so she's the mom, he's the son, I guess. And then this part didn't really make sense to me later, because it's like, she says, my annual Halloween prank on him is working, where he's stuck between realms, because he was trying to transport between Betty and Veronica's parties. Why they wouldn't be at the same party, I don't know. But so he was stuck in some monstrous realm. Now, the thing I didn't understand is that she's the one who tells him he should just transport between the two events. And so the whole thing of this being an annual prank isn't really mentioned again. But again, you can see characters dressed, there's a character dressed as Superman in the background. So he's transporting between worlds, and then he gets stuck, in this monstrous realm. And then it's Darkling who comes to rescue him. Oops. And so this is really cool stuff, really nicely drawn. And then She-Fox is there at the party now, too. Happy Halloween, son. So I don't really get why this was a prank, because Darkling seems to say that this is happening because it's Hallows Eve, and that means trouble. So I showed you the whole comic, but Mother Striga, this is one of those fact pages explaining about this new character. And then you have the editor's notebook where he talks about the Mother Striga's creation. And then there's also, you can't really see it there too well, but there's a cover concept by art director Vincent Lavallo for this particular cover. So that's one thing people, a lot of fans don't understand, is that a lot of times when you have somebody draw a cover, like Stephen Butler in this case, I think Stephen Butler did that cover, right? Let's see. See where this says. Yeah, cover. A lot of times they don't understand that they're working from a concept by someone who works for Archie, who's sort of their cover designer, who will have a design, and then they even back in the 70s, when Jack Kirby returned to Marvel, they would have someone, a Maurice Severin or somebody like that, send them him a rough cover design. We want you to draw it like this, and then Jack Kirby would go and draw it. So anyways, this is sort of interesting little thing, a little behind the scenes thing there. And then you have some ads again for the Veronica facsimile edition, which I reviewed in a previous video. If you see, and also the Betty and Me number 16, which I also reviewed in a previous video. This is an upcoming 4-issue miniseries. I probably won't be getting this. It doesn't look too interesting to me. It's more of a realistic, the modern Archie style. The weird thing, though, is it's a 4-issue miniseries, but it says each issue will be by a different writer and artist team. So that seems kind of odd. I mean, they're promoting as by Tim Seeley and Mike Norton, but that's just for the first issue. I like Mike Norton's art, but I'm not sure about some of the other artists that they may have on it. Who knows? So it seems kind of an odd way of having a miniseries where every single issue is going to be drawn by a totally different writer and artist. Could be very disjointed. I mean, it gives you some variety, but it just seems like a strange way of doing a miniseries. So, and then you have the more of the ads. I think this was in a previous issue. I'd already read that joke before, and that's that. So another little jam-packed Halloween holiday one-shot. So I think the next one, like I said, is the Josie and the Pussycats Super Spectacular. That's going to be coming out in a few weeks. So I enjoyed this. I recommend picking it up. Like I said, especially if you enjoy the Archie superhero type characters, because there's a lot of that here. And it's a lot of fun. I enjoyed it. That's it for me. Thanks for watching.